Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and I am the owner and dyer behind SeraCraft Yarn, and I am also 1/3 of the Fiber Girls podcast, and I've decided to start my own podcast called SeraCraft Studio, and I will still continue to do podcasting with Sarah from Graceland Wool and Kayla from Whips on Sticks, but I decided to, I have a co-host, there's my daughter, and I decided to do a little podcast on my own because sometimes it's really hard for us to all get together with our schedules. So to share my current projects and everything I'm working on, I will do a little bit on my own if this turns out okay. So a little bit about who I am. So I'm Sarah and I live in the inland Northwest with my husband and our 2 kids on our little farm in Eastern Washington. And you can find me, I have little notes I'm looking down at, so you can find me on Instagram as SeraCraft Yarn, also occasionally Facebook as SeraCraft Yarn, although I try not to go on Facebook too often. And then also you can find me on Ravelry as Sarah M, S-E-R-A-M. And I also have my yarn in an Etsy shop, which is SeraCraft Yarn, as well as at a hook and needle Nook in Spokane, Washington. And soon I will be sending out a box of yarn for a little Knitty in Auburn, Washington. So she occasionally carries my yarn there. So, and they both ship, I believe. So if there's something that you see that's not in my shop on Etsy, both of those stores I believe will ship to you. So I will put links to both stores in the down bar and do as much as I can that way, but I'm not very tech savvy, so I don't really know how to edit and all of that. So we'll see. What else? I'm originally from Michigan, so you might hear the accent just a little bit, but now I'm in Eastern Washington. So I will talk about the things I'm currently working on, finished projects, finished makes, and I started using a drop spindle, so I'll probably talk about that a little bit. And then occasionally I will talk about yarn I'm dyeing and even sometimes some of the things that are going on around here because we do a large garden and we have chickens and ducks, and so preserving food and all of that is a big part of my day-to-day, especially in the summertime. So first, I would like to share one of my most recent makes. So this is the Humulus sweater, and I'll see if I can kind of stand up just a little bit. I love this sweater. This is the Humulus by Isabell Kraemer, and I loved knitting this. I used Cumbria from the Fiber Company, and the main color is what it is called, Windermere, and then that kind of mustard color there is called Buttermere. And I loved knitting it. I didn't really make any alterations to the pattern except for the ribbing at the bottom. I did fewer rows, and I may go back and add because I have quite a bit of yarn left. I love the overall fit. The only complaint I have is that when I blocked it, the neckline got wider, and I think it's because the way I blocked it, it wasn't flat, it was on a drying rack. And I think the neck stretched a little bit, so you can see my shirt underneath, which I don't really like. I like how it sat a little bit higher. It was more like a crew neck, but it's no fault of the pattern. It's totally me blocking it because it was perfect prior to blocking. So I'm going to reblock and see if I can fix that. And otherwise, I love the pattern. It's very well written. It was really fun. The color work was engaging but simple, and I just really enjoyed it. And then I did a little detail here, which is actually in the pattern to do if you choose to do it, just one line of the contrast color. And that was a sort of quick little knit along that my friend Sarah from Graceland Wool and I did together. She actually did color work on her sleeves too, and it looks really cool. It kind of makes me want to knit another one. So I think we knit it in about 2.5 weeks, something like that. And that was really fun to do together. So I would definitely recommend this pattern, and I will try to do a few little show notes, not super detailed. If you have questions, just contact me, but I'm kind of bad about doing show notes. So I'll try to do that. I've done a few for our Fiber Girls podcast. So Current whips. I have several, and I don't know if I'm going to share all of those or not because it's quite a lot, and I'm kind of focused on a few of them. So one of them is the Comfort Fade cardigan. That one is by Andrea Mowry. See if I can find a picture. I know I don't have a picture of the very front. Well, fold it so I don't show the pattern. Okay, it's a black and white picture. It has a beautiful shawl collar, and then it's all reverse stockinette. And we saw this on, we've been looking at this pattern anyway for a while. I don't usually do open cardigans because I don't like when they kind of flap open. And between running after kids, and I do a lot of cooking and baking and barn chores and dyeing yarn and all of that, and I don't like when cardigans kind of flap open like that. It makes me crazy. So I'm going to do, I hadn't done it because of that, but I talked to one of my friends, and she just used a shawl pin to keep it closed when she wants it closed. So I'm gonna try that, and hopefully that will be okay. Otherwise, maybe I can adjust and put some buttonholes or something in there, but I don't know that it will look as nice with that. So I originally cast that on with Madeline Tosh, DK, and Earl Grey, and I have that yarn in a sweater quantity, and I've been really wanting to knit something with that, and I've ripped out a few things, and I can't decide what that wants to be, but it didn't want to be this cardigan. And Sarah and I are knitting this together, and she decided to pull a bunch from her stash after she saw Chelsea and Sue on the Legacy Fiber Arts podcast talking about it. We just both really wanted to knit it. And Sue's doing all one color, which is gorgeous, and then Chelsea has a little bit of a fade going. And so we went through our stashes, and we both picked up the best combination, and I love them both. So I'm holding fingering weight double for several colors, and we'll see how it turns out. But I am knitting the third size, which, let me see what that is called. It's the small, because she has an extra small, an extra small, and then a small. So I'm doing the small, which is a 37.5 bust. And because it's basically going to be worsted instead of DK, I think that will give me a little extra ease for that shawl, the shawl pin, to keep it closed a little bit. So this is mine. I hope the lighting is okay. I don't have all the fancy lights that Kayla and Sarah have, so I have a big light or a big window here, so I'm hoping that that helps enough. But this is mine, and I have split for the sleeves and gotten just a little bit further, and I'm using a combination of a ton of different indie dyers. So I have, the first color is this, it's called the Ants, and that is from O Loops. So the ants on her figure 8 base, which is 100% superwash merino. That one's considered worsted. And then I fade into one of my favorite colors in the entire world ever by any indie dyer. And I need a whole sweater of this. But this is So Happy Jane in her bouncy fingering in Sassy Ballerina. This is all that's left. I have used some on my Sunset Highway sweater. I faded into that at the bottom. And then I have this on here. And I plan to keep the rest of this to put it in my blanket. But I love that colorway. And so I had to use what I could. And then the next color is this. I do feel like the light is a little yellow. Let's see. But this one is Less Traveled Yarn in Spring Bouquet. I got this at a little Knitty in Auburn. And then I go into my next color, which I will be getting to today, is this, which is Cat Sandwich Fibers. Bright pink label here. And it's called Roses Kissing Violets. So I'm excited to get into that one. And then I will be going into this one from Sarah from Graceland Wool. I don't know the name of this. We did a Advent swap, and this was the main color. So I don't know if this will be in her shop or not, but it's pinks and purples. There's a little bit of gray, deep plum and magenta. It's so pretty. So I'll go into that, and then I will end with this hedgehog fibers, and this is the dragonfly colorway. So part of the reason I did so many colors is because my daughter really liked all the colors that I'm using, and she wants a matching sweater. So while there is not a pattern for a child version of the sweater, I think I'm gonna do like the flax pullover by Tin Can Knits, and then just do the same colors and fade it down using Andrea's technique from this pattern, because she wants a pullover anyways. That might work out. So that's my plan for that. And then the other project I've been working on a lot is the Nightshift shawl, which is also by Andrea Mowry. And I don't, see if I can show a picture. I hate when people show part of the pattern or chart or anything like that, so I'm trying really hard not to. So again, black and white, because I'm always trying to not use a bunch of colored ink. So that is a really fun pattern that I'm doing, and so fun. And I'm using quite a combination of yarns for this, so many that they are going to be, all of this is on my Ravelry pages, but there's some hand spun that somebody had sent to me for that Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted in November, and then there's two of the colors are from a smaller company called Two Rivers Fiber Company, which is out of Colorado, and that's her card, or her label. And this is alpaca merino sport weight, but I held it double. She's out of Colorado, and I don't know if she has a website, but I don't know how she sells her yarn. This was picked up at a farmer's market by my parents. So so that, so there's multiple yarns, and I will just list those all, and that's in my Sugar Tots camping bag. Really full in there though. I'm running out of space. And my little marker is Itty Bitty Delights from her If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. She did a whole series of stitch markers based on that were If You Give a Knitter whatever kind of series. So it was really cute, and I was like, I need that. I love it. So I'm doing those. Let me see if this helps. That might be okay. All right, and then I'm also doing a pair of socks, and these are, let's see if I can turn this. Okay, these are Desert Vista Dyeworks, and this is her Zumbody It's Cold Outside, and that's what that looks like. And I did the first color up there is actually a Lolo did it, little Lolo. Guys, I'm sorry about the lighting, but this is my first time really doing this by myself, so I will do better. And I'm sure some of you will let me know if anyone watches this. So the little Lolo color, this one, is called Hello Gorgeous. And this combination actually Tracy from the Grocery Girls did a few years ago for socks. And I was like, that is the perfect combination. So that is what I'm working on. And those, I haven't really been in sock mood. I've been really wanting to do sweaters, and I've been focused mostly on sweaters. And so those are I take those with me to my daughter's ballet class, basically. And then the other thing I'm working on is the Birkin by Caitlin Hunter. And I love this knit, but many of the rows are 3 colors in one row. And while I'm getting better at color work, 3 colors in one row is a pain, and I don't like it. And it's been really hard for me to figure out a good rhythm. So I have started using a Norwegian thimble, and that looks like this, and it just goes on your finger, and you can put the two colors, put one here, and then you can do your third color on your other hand. And that has been really, really helpful. And so that has made the rows go a lot faster, and I recommend that if you're struggling, you try that because it really has helped me tremendously. So this is my Birkin so far, and I'm using Brooklyn Tweed Loft, and many of their colors. I've got Snowbound is the main color. There's Camper, Tent, Hay, Thistle, I think are the colors. Those again are all on my Ravelry page, and that's so I don't know if I have a picture of that pattern. I have her hand drawn one. So it has all the color work up in the yoke, and then it's just a stockinette body. And I think I'm going to do a full length sleeve instead of a 3/4 sleeve. So so that one has been one that I really like, but it's been very, very slow because of the color and it's fingering weight. So I have kind of put it aside, especially to do this Humulus and to do the Comfort Fade, because those are essentially worsted weight sweaters, and so they're going very, very fast. And so I have one other I'm going to talk about, and that's one of my scrappy projects, and that is something I'm going to start picking up again here. I haven't knit on it in a little while. And it is my log cabin. That's the wrong side. Yeah, okay. My log cabin blanket. And it's kind of paler colors. This is the Log Cabin Scrap Blanket by Staci Perry. And I'm using fingering weight held double, and I really like this project. I haven't knit on it in a while just because I haven't felt like knitting on anything scrappy. And I'm sort of collecting colors that are a little bit paler for this project, because my crochet granny stripe blanket is crazy bright, and I don't crochet on it very much, and I can't imagine it being on our bed, which was the original intent for that, because it's so bright, and that's just really not our style. So so I'm going to pick this back up and do this, and this will probably just be a throw for the couch, but an ongoing project, and I'm going to put my Sassy Ballerina left in it because I really love that. So then let's see. Oh, the other project I've been working on I didn't bring with me, but it's the Selbu mittens, and you would have seen those when I did a little short video for the Fiber Girls. I talked about those on there. When we were having a lot of technical issues, we did a 4-part podcast or something, and so I did mine real quick on my own. And then the only other thing I think that I wanted to talk about was I saw on Ravelry, in Andrea Mowry's group, she mentioned the Ravelry challenge for 2019, and it's basically a challenge that you do challenging yourself. And so you decide how many projects you want to finish in 2019, and you set a goal for yourself. You can make it specific projects that are in your queue, in your projects already, or favorites or whatever. Or you can just set a certain number that you want to finish for the year. And I decided to do that because, you know, I always do the make 9 list, and I really enjoy the idea of that. But I change my mind every time. I never finish all the ones. And I'm thinking that this is a better way to do. So I put that I would like to finish 12 this year. And it told me that I already had 3 done this year, and that I was 25% of the way there. And I thought, well, it's February, because at the time it was. And I thought, if I'm already 25% of the way there in February, I'm going to do more. So I changed it. So now my goal is 15 for the year. And I think it's totally doable, because if I finish the shawl and sweater, that's 2 more knocked off the list, and it's only March. So I plan to have my Comfort Fade done by Easter. And I don't know why Easter. We don't really celebrate that. The Easter Bunny comes, but we don't do anything as far as church and all of that. So it's just a good goal, I guess. So I think I will have it done by then. And then the night shift I'm just working on, as I'm just enjoying it. So I think both of those will be done. So I think, let me look at my little notes. I think that's about it for today. So it's a really short episode, but I hope that that's okay, because sometimes you just don't have time to watch a really long episode. And while I like a lot of the podcasters who do long episodes, I sometimes have to break it up into several viewings. So if you're curious what this is, my son is making up a Jeopardy game about dinosaurs. So he's using our chalkboard to do all the categories and make a little game. So in case you just see all the numbers and think, that looks kind of like Jeopardy. It is. And let's see. Oh, and the only other thing I'm going to show you too is this, which my mom just sent me. Llama Band-Aids, because that's really fun. So I love that she did that. She sent unicorns for my daughter and ninjas for my son. So they were very excited to have those. So I will save anything else for next time and see how this goes. If you like what you see, please subscribe and like below. And check us out on the Fiber Girls, because I am much more fun with Sarah and Kayla. There's always a lot of laughter and joking around, and we have a really good time. So in the meantime, Sarah and I are going to do our solo podcast, you know, every week, every other week, something like that, in between when we can meet up to do it all together. And then hopefully the three of us will be together very soon, because that would be really fun. And I will do my best with show notes or links, whatever I can do. And hopefully the lighting is okay. You'll have to let me know, and I'm sure you will. So thank you so much for taking a few minutes of your day to watch, and happy knitting.